Hello, Facebook. We're coming to you live from the Monterey Windsor. Welcome to the 39.6 Facebook Live show where we talk about how to make your money work for you so you don't have to work for your money. Today's topic, how your first attending paycheck can cost you $10 million or more. Take it away, Pinky.
Hey, let's get moving. I love dancing, dancing, dancing. Come on and spin around with me. I love dancing, dancing, dancing. I love dancing. Dance now, clap.
Thank you, Pinky. So, hello, Facebook. If you are out there, please give us a thumbs up. Give us a wow face. Give us a wave, something, so I know you are out there. If you see somebody or know somebody who might be interested in this topic, please feel free to share the feed that you get on your Facebook feed so other people can see it as well. All right, so we are going to get started. Today is July 31st. Happy birthday to Harry Potter. For those Harry Potter fans out there, if you know, he always has his birthday in the summertime, right before going to Hogwarts. Today is that day, July 31. All right, so our topic today is your first attending paycheck. Now, for you doctors out there, you've gone through residency, may have gone through fellowship as well. This one paycheck is something you've been waiting your entire life for. All right, so what you do with this one paycheck can set you on a course for the rest of your life to either be in good financial position or poor financial position, okay? And no matter what everything comes down to, when people talk about investing, people talk about cutting down your fees, people talk about what to invest in, what your asset allocation is, none of that really matters, okay? By far and away, the biggest factor is how you deal with this one thing: lifestyle inflation. I'm sorry, I just clicked on the wrong button. All right. Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Here it is. Sorry. Okay. There we go. Lifestyle inflation, the wrong button. Okay, so lifestyle inflation is the one thing that will actually indicate more than anything else how much money and how comfortable you are financially for the rest of your life, okay? So this first paycheck, a lot of people are getting their first big paycheck at the end of this month, July 31st, or the first day of the month tomorrow, August 1st, after working their attending job. How you deal with this one paycheck can cost you $10 million to $20 million or more, okay? And it really depends on how much it is and how much you spend, okay? So I have a few examples. Now, let's pretend you are a resident currently, or you just finished residency, and you are making $50,000. Okay, so $50,000 was a typical resident salary. Now, I've done some estimates of the amount of tax you would pay in 2018. If you had a 5% state tax, you paid Medicare and Social Security, and if you're married, you would have a total tax burden of about $8,500. Okay, so that means you're left with about $41,500 that you've been living off of as a resident. Okay. On an average per month, that means that you have about $3,500. And that's assuming you're spending all of your take-home pay, okay? So $3,500 per month you've been managing to live off of, and you've been waiting and waiting and waiting for that bigger paycheck, okay? And you've been waiting for it so you could spend more, because $3,500 never really seemed like enough for a lot of people, even though that is the average family income in the United States, okay? And a lot of the problem is you see and associate with people who have a lot more in terms of earnings, and you think of that lifestyle as the norm as opposed to your resident income as the norm, okay? Now, let's pretend you spent the same $3,500 a month after residency was over. Okay, this is very hard for some people to even fathom because you've been waiting for that one check. I remember being in training and people said, what are you going to spend your first check on? What are you going to treat yourself to? Okay, think about, if I only spend the amount of money I have been spending for the last number of years, what can I do with all the rest of it? How powerful can that be? Okay, so the average primary care physician in the United States makes about $200,000 a year. The average specialist makes around $300,000 a year. That's a 4 to 6 times or 4 to 6 multiple of your original resident salary of $50,000. Now, you do have a higher tax rate to pay the more income you have, but it's multiple times more than you had before, okay? So if we assume that you're making $200,000, you're going to be paying more federal tax, about $30,000 instead of $2,000 based on current brackets, $10,000 in state tax using a 5% rate, $3,000 in Medicare, and about $8,000 in Social Security. So that's a total tax of $51,000, okay, with a $200,000 income. That's about 25% of your gross income is all going to tax. Okay, so if you take off that $51,000, you're left with $149,000. That's still 3.5 times what you took home as a resident. So your monthly net income would be about $12,500. Okay, so instead of $3,500, you're taking home about $12,500. That's a $9,000 raise, okay, of take-home pay. And that's taking home a $200,000 annual salary. That $9,000, if you were to save and invest all $9,000 every month, okay, you would get yourself, in a matter of 5 years, using a 6% interest rate, up to $630,000. Okay, and after 10 years, you would be at $1.5 million. That's by investing $9,000 a month. Okay, now let's back up. A few episodes ago, I talked about the 4% rule. Okay, and I talked about how it's not a perfect number. Okay, but it's a great place to start from. And that 4% rule means that if it holds up, you actually need 300 times your monthly spending in all of your investments to sustain your spending. So if you're spending $3,500 a month, your resident income, you need $1,050,000 in order to be financially independent for your investments to support your spending, okay? If you were to invest that full $9,000 every month, you will get there in 7.7 years at a 6% return, okay? So basically, as long as you are in residency and fellowship, if you continue to live the same lifestyle for that amount of time, for about 7 to 8 years, you would be able to quit completely from your job. And that nest egg that you've built up would be able to support you for perpetuity if you believe in the 4% rule, or at least 30 years based on the 44% rule, okay? Because you need $1 million. Now, you've been living off of $50,000 a year. $1 million sounds like a lot because it is a lot, but it can only support $3,500 a month. So before you start spending more than $3,500 a month, you need to know how much it's going to actually cost you, how much you're going to need, okay? But if we continued investing that $9,000 a month and we went all the way out to, let's say, 35 years, because let's pretend you're 30 years now and you retire at 65, at a 6% return, that's almost $13 million, okay, that you have invested. Let us take the opposite situation where somebody gets their big fat paycheck, okay? You are making $12,500 a month and you say, well, I was told to max out my 401k. And that 401k is just $18,500 a year. Okay, it's about $1,500 a month. But you think that just because you max that out, that you're going to be fine because you are maxing out a retirement account. It has to be enough. Okay, unfortunately, that is not true. Okay, and especially for physicians. But a lot of physicians don't even manage to do this, which honestly is mind-boggling. $18,500 is only $1,500 a month, and if you're earning $200,000, it's not even 10% of your income. Okay, but if you were to only do that and max out your 401k, that means you're spending $11,000 a month. Okay, you have tripled your lifestyle on your first paycheck. Okay, and if you continue doing that for the next 35 years, you're only going to have about $2 million. Okay, $2 million based on the 4% rule is only $80,000 a year. It's only not even $7,000 a month. So you would not even be able to retire after 35 years of working if you just max out your 401k, because all of that money that you've earned, you've made your lifestyle make up 88% of that total. You're only saving 12% of your income. Okay, so it's not just that you're not investing as much, but you're also spending a lot more. With $11,000 a month in spending, you need 300 times that, $3.3 million. If you thought $1 million is a lot of money, 3.3 million is more than 3 times as much. Okay, so that's just based on a $200,000 salary. You have a difference of saving all of the extra, okay, and ending with $13 million or over $12 million in 35 years. And being able to quit working after 7.7 years if you wanted to, versus the opposite and ending with only 2 million and never being able to retire. Okay, and unfortunately, that is the truth for so many physicians. They're 65 years old and they just cannot retire because they haven't invested money despite all of that time. Okay, now, so that is how $10 million can be the difference on your first paycheck. All you need to do is inflate your lifestyle from the $3,500 to the $11,000. Now, someone could say, well, when you're used to spending $3,500, how do you get to $11,000? It's really not that hard if you just spend on much more expensive things, okay? Instead of renting an apartment for $1,000 a month, you buy a house and you live in a high cost of living area, and it costs you $6,000 a month because that's the same house that all of the other physicians live in, okay? That's $6,000 right there. And you have 2 kids in private school, and private school unbelievably costs $2,000 a month for the whole year. $24,000 is how much a lot of private schools can cost, just day schools. And you put 2 kids there, that's $4,000. So you have 2 kids in your house, that's $10,000. And you haven't even eaten yet, and you haven't even driven to work. So $11,000 can go very fast if you just spend your money on things that are very expensive, okay? If you do that right off the bat, you will never be able to retire. Okay, now the person with the $300,000 a month income, the specialist, that person now has to pay more tax because they're up to a higher bracket. They're paying $55,000 in federal tax, $15,000 in state tax, $4,800 in Medicare, Social Security of $8,000 for a total of $83,000 of tax. So you only end up with $217,000. So of the $300,000, you ended up, losing almost 30%, around 27% of your money to taxes. Okay, the higher you earn, the higher the percentage that goes to tax. Okay, well, now you end up with about $18,000 a month after taxes. That is a lot. Okay, the $200,000 income had $12,500, and now you're up to $18,000. That's $5,500 more per month. Okay, so the resident who had $3,500, This is more than 5 times that income. Okay, so in 1 month, you're taking home more than you did in 5 months of the year. You should be able to save a lot of money with an income this high. Okay, now again, same scenario. If you live off the same $3,500 and invest the difference, which is $14,500, you are now saving over 80% of your income. Now that is awesome. If you can do that out of training, you will be in a great position very early in life. Okay, and that is actually what we do. We save about 80 to 90% of our income per month. Okay, yes, it is easier with higher income. There's no question about that. But if you are at $50,000 and you went up to $200,000, you can still save a huge chunk of that money. Okay, and that's 72% if you save all of the extra. That's a very good savings rate. Now, back to the $300,000 earner. Okay, $3,500 spent, that means $14,500 invested. Okay, you still only need the $1 million or $1,050,000 to retire or to be financially independent. Okay, because your financial independence number is based on how much you spend, not how much you earn. But now you're saving more, $5,500 more than the person who earned $200,000. So you should be able to get to be financially independent faster than you otherwise would have. In this situation, you get there in just over 5 years. Okay, if you had spent 3 years in residency and 3 years in fellowship, that's 6 years. You do this for 5 more years, then you don't have to depend on your job to support your expenses, to support your lifestyle. Okay, 5 years. The burnout rate for physicians is unbelievably high. Okay, in a lot of surveys, physicians would not choose to be physicians again, and they would not choose their own specialty. Okay, the best way to mitigate physician burnout is to not have to work. That way you can choose to work on your own terms. Okay, here, if you save 80% of your income, you're good in just over 5 years. Okay, you'll have that $1 million in 5 years. And after 35 years, if you continue doing this and investing that much money, you'd have almost $21 million. Okay, now the opposite person. This person has the $300,000 annual income, but again, they're just maxing out their 401k, $1,500 a month. Okay, so this is actually worse. When you earn more money, but you save the same amount, you are in a worse financial position than if you never earned the money in the first place, because you get farther and farther behind. This person is only saving 8%, okay, of his or her income, which means if he's spending $16,500 a month, 300 times that is about $5 million. That person needs to have $5 million to be financially independent. Well, after 35 years, that person only has the same $2 million that the other person had who was just maxing out the 401k, because that $18,000 compounded ends up being the exact same amount. So it's even worse when you earn more money and you're just trying to fill up a bucket, because the percentage of your saving is actually lower. Okay, so an 8% savings rate is not going to get you there. Okay, this person won't even get there. You can even add in Social Security at the full benefit. You're never going to get there. At 35, $2 million is only $80,000 a year or $7,000 a month. You add Social Security, that could be $2,000 to $3,000, $10,000 a month. You're not going to support that lifestyle. Okay, it would actually take 48 years for that person to become financially independent. You'd be working until you're 80 years old. Okay, so what you do with that first paycheck, what liabilities you take on, the house, the private schools, the cars, those fixed expenses that go on for years and years to come, those kill your ability to save more money. Now, if you go out and buy yourself a new handbag or a new pair of shoes, those are one-time expenses. Okay, you're probably much better off dropping $1,000 on a new bag or a really nice pair of shoes. Okay, if that's what you've been really waiting for all those years of training, so be it. That's a one-time expense. But those ongoing liabilities that perpetually take money out of your income just to support them, you will never build wealth. Okay, so your house, your cars, you buy yourself an SUV, a luxury SUV can cost like $70,000. Yeah, everybody else drives them, but that's a lot of money. That's more than you earned the whole past year. Okay, and once you have that luxury SUV, are you going to go back to the Toyota Corolla after that once you realize that you're broke? Okay, so look at those big ongoing expenses. Some people just pay cash, just pay cash for a car, pay cash for a house, rent. You don't have to buy a house with a big mortgage that you're paying for 30 years. And with the current tax brackets and the way that the tax system works, there's very little benefit for most people to even own a home anymore from a tax perspective. Okay, so in your area, if renting is cheaper than owning, rent and invest the difference. Okay, and the cost of home ownership is so much more than people initially believe it's going to be. They have to include the cost of maintenance, which people always underestimate, and the cost of the house ends up taking more and more and more money, okay, out of your pocket. Private schools, you may really want to have your kids go to private school. You put them in private school when they're in preschool. Are you going to do that for the next 14 years? Okay, you have to make these decisions early, because once you inflate that lifestyle, it is so much harder to go back down. Okay, so watch it at the beginning. Live like a resident if you can. Okay, keep it as close to your resident salary as possible. Increase your lifestyle by maybe 10%. Grow your lifestyle as your net worth grows. Okay, that way you don't get behind. The worst thing I see, and I see it over and over and over again, people spend all that money and now they're worse off than if they had never gotten that money. It's crazy to think that a higher income could put you in a worse financial position, but it's true when you spend all that income, because now you have to deflate the lifestyle. That is very, 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 very hard to do. All right, so takeaway from today's episode: take your first paycheck, enjoy it, be very happy you got it, that you earned it, you've made it. But live like a resident. Do it for a little bit. Get yourself back to broke if you have debt. Grow your net worth. And I challenge anybody listening to this, if you're in this position and starting off, try to do this. Become financially independent first. Okay, so live off of that $3,500. Get yourself up to $1 million as fast as you can. Then inflate your income based on your net worth. Every $300,000 your net worth goes up, increase your lifestyle by $1,000. That way you're always financially independent. You can continue inflating your lifestyle. That is great. As long as your net worth keeps going up, your money and your investments will always be able to support you. All right, so that's our takeaway for today. I am going to thank our sponsors. So this show is really self-sponsored. I bring this show because I really want to reach out and help people. And our first sponsor is actually Shinola. Shinola turned 1 last week, and amazingly, she developed her own social media presence just in the past day. She has a whole bunch of followers, and she has her own Instagram account. Her Instagram account is more active than my dormant one. Okay, she's at Shinola Maria. That's SHINOLA MARIA, Shinola Maria. Because when you think about who you work for and why you work, at the end of the day, are you working for your boss? Are you working for the hospital? Or are you working for your family? So Shinola is what makes this show happen today for you all. Last thing, if you're out there, please comment so I know you're there. Please share this if you know anybody else that could enjoy this. Those are the best things that are the most meaningful to me and to this show. 39.6.com. You can go ahead and subscribe, but comment on this feed. Share it with anybody else you know who could utilize this information so that you can get your money working for you, so you don't have to work for your money. Everybody who's out there, I'm going to say shout out, my wife, Kate, Peter. Yes, where can I get that shirt? Peter, Passive Income MD, you are the man. This shirt, Kate ordered this on Amazon for Shanoa's first birthday. Pink shirt, green cacti on Amazon, I believe. And Hugh, nice to see you. He says he has to retire in Montana. He says, yes, amen to the burnout. Rodneyus, amen to that as well. And Fidel from Ontario, I think maybe from Windsor. I was just over there. Thank you for coming out and joining us today. And Pinky,
Hey, let's
take it
get
away.
moving.